Welcome to Accelerate Global and our fireside chat, where today we'll be discussing with Xledger the technologies that software providers require for seamless operations. Not only will we be discussing this topic, but we'll also get their insights into a true low-code strategy. My name is Richard Ainley. I'm the Regional Sales Director for Creatio. I look after the Western European territory, and I was super delighted when we were able to bring Xledger on board. On this session today, we'll have a chance to discuss the digital transformation journey that Xledger took. Just for those of you that don't know, Xledger is a leading provider of cloud-based finance software solutions with a wide customer network, which is global, of over 10,000 organizations spanning 60 countries. Xledger takes pride of being one of the most automated cloud accounting and ERP solutions on the market space, providing 100% cloud-based systems since 1996. Today, we're joined with Mark Pullen, CEO of Xledger, and Justin Morris, Head of Service Delivery. Mark, Justin, firstly, I'd like to welcome you to Accelerate Global, and thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here to join us today. It seems like some time ago, gents, when we were discussing the finer details of the project and actually bringing Xledger on board. So I'm super excited to have you here today and to have the opportunity to get some of your feedback and find out how the project's been going. I know both of you have had first-hand experience of leading Xledger's digital transformation. Perhaps we could kick off by, could you tell us what prompted Xledger to adopt a low-code technology strategy for the process management and CRM?
Yeah, sure. So I'll cover this one first, Justin, if that's all right. So originally this came out of, so I joined the business just over a year ago and took over as a CEO. And one of the first things that I looked at was the operational effectiveness of our cross-market structure. And albeit there in culture and values, it wasn't there from a systems perspective. Each entity or each market was siloed. It had its own process. It followed the same methodologies, but it was not underpinned by commonality in terms of software and systems. So the first thing that I wanted to do was sponsor that across the business, make sure that we were empowering ourselves to collaborate and share primarily sales, but also marketing experiences, collateral, system and process. And we needed to find ourselves a solution that could sit across all of those markets, the different languages and currencies that we operate within, but provide us with an underpinning system that we all could relate to, that made us all more effective with our data management, with our sales processes and our reporting. So we embarked on a process then to identify the solution that would achieve that for us.
Amazing, amazing. And then perhaps a question more for Justin then. So what were the key requirements for the technology to support this transformation?
I think it had to be a real-time system, it had to be data-driven, and it had to be truly global. We wanted something that could be accessed anywhere in the world by any team. And as Mark said, it had to be standardized. So it had to look and feel exactly the same. So those were the key requirements. It had to have the natural, sales capability, lead management, all of that, single view capability. But for us, it had to be a truly global data-driven system.
Excellent. And why was it that you actually opted for the Creatio platform out of the many other vendors that are available on the market space?
I think when we did quite a rigorous review of all the platforms in the market, we had a 3-month process where we went through and identified our key requirements, and then we reviewed it against the market. Did all the providers provide the functionality we wanted? And they did. Price was naturally a consideration, but a big part of it was culture for us. We wanted a business, and we wanted to work with a business that was aligned with our values and our culture. And we felt that Creatio was that perfect match.
Amazing. It's always good to hear as well. Thank you for this. We know that Xledger's primary goals for digital transformation were to consolidate its IT landscape, as Mark, you've just touched on there, ensuring cross-departmental alignment and automating the customer-facing processes. How does low-code technology really help with management and the CRM side of the platform for you to achieve this goal?
I think from the outset, one of the things that we were looking at, where we are working across many different cultures, different maturities across those different markets, one of the hardest things is not actually the selection of a tool, it's the deployment of that tool. As a business, Xledger, our modus operandi, our methodology is to enable companies to adapt their business processes to fit our software and our tools. And we wanted to look for something that was the same. We were not in the market for something that was going to take inordinate amounts of professional services to develop and to adapt the software to fit our process. We were the opposite. We had the opportunity to not start again, but to really look at what are the fundamentals of what we're trying to achieve from our sales methodologies, from our reporting, our data management, and our automated marketing, and actually use the tool to drive best practice for us. We wanted something pretty much off the shelf that fitted closely to our culture and our methodologies and our existing processes and systems, but one that we were willing to adapt to. And what we found with Creatio was taking that out of the box approach really enabled us to onboard everybody and embrace a new method of working using that tool that everybody was able to share in. We had one source of training. Justin ran the project globally. We were able to empower people as champions within their markets, but it was very easy for them to adopt. It was very easy for them to understand, and it wasn't overly complicated from a professional services and deployment perspective.
That's great. I mean, having been in the software space for quite some time now, Mark, I've seen what software projects can look like, and elongated software projects are far more common than what we'd like to think. Just remind me, roughly speaking, how long was the project from kind of go live to rolling out the first part of the Creatio platform throughout Xledger?
I suppose we start to finish, it was out and rolled in 3 months for the first 2 regions. We have 4 regions globally. So we had the UK and the US we rolled out as part of phase 1. And then we've recently rolled out Norway, which is our biggest region, and we're shortly to be rolling out into Sweden. So, that's from initiation to go live testing and live use by the sales teams within 3 months.
It's so pleasing to hear, because like I say, I've had some experiences in previous lives and previous job roles where these IT projects have taken far too long, and to do something so quickly, really, because 2 to 3 months is something to be very proud of. I guess some of the other things, in terms of what business outcomes do you aim at achieving in the long run as a result of this digital transformation that you've taken?
Yeah, I think there's multiple facets to that. I will obviously look at it from a global, more broad perspective. And one of the things we wanted to unify was our ability to report, for the board of directors to look holistically at how the business is performing as a whole. We're looking at the same information from each region. We understand the numbers that we're looking because they're following the same methodologies. We have the same categorization and then a same roll up of what that data means. It then slips down into the more practical usage area where Justin's been heavily involved in working with those local teams that are using the tool to drive productivity so that they don't actually have to report. They're not reporting to the board anymore. They're simply capturing their data. And from their ongoing processes, we then roll that up and we can see those reports. So right now it was a short-term goal of let's unify those regions, let's talk the same language, let's systematically use and industrialize our processes using a system. The more advanced adoption for that is then to drive some of the processes within the business. We're now embarking on the automated marketing elements that Creatio can support us with. That's now becoming a tool that's critical to sales teams. It's an outlet for marketing to consolidate all of their activities within one tool. Historically, we were using mail delivery systems, then importing that data into another system, and it's and then reporting manually off that. So the productivity element is vastly more improved now that we're using one centralized system to use for sales and recording of that sales cycle and the sales process. Marketing and driving information directly into those sales teams. The data input happens once, and then migrates through the tool, all the way through to consultants then picking that information in, all the anecdotal data that came from the start of the process, and the qualification of a lead all the way through to the point we're at now of delivery. And it's meaning that they feel much closer to that account. They're able to not have to speak to an individual to find out about that customer. Everything's recorded. So it's that soup to nuts approach of everything that's happening as a starting point of acquiring or the acquisition of sale, all the way through to that delivery. And every facet of that, we as the board can visualize, we can see that, we understand it, we can forecast more effectively, especially through the difficult period that we've all seen this year. That immediacy of information and the ability to reforecast really quickly has been paramount. What's next? We will continue to use this tool bigger and better. We are looking at new markets. In fact, about a week ago, we launched over in Finland. So it's now adopting those processes. And because we have a system, you can lift and shift. We can take that methodology and not only teach new markets and employees that are going to drive that market, but they have a system that they can use and learn, to the eventuality of them being included in that process.
Amazing. And it's great to hear as well that, Mark, because obviously here at Creatio, no surprises, we use Creatio internally for our sales process. Obviously that visibility and transparency that the tool provides is amazing. I mean, sometimes my sales reps don't always, they're not always ecstatic that the board have full visibility, as I'm sure you know if you've ever been involved in a sales process. But no, having a single version of the truth that runs throughout the platform, it helps everybody. It helps, and I tell you where it's really helped myself, and that is as we've entered into a very challenging and a very uncertain year, we've ended up having to basically disperse to a working from home situation. I don't know about yourselves, but obviously we kind of dispersed back in March sometime. We got back into the office for a small period of time, but of course cases have started to rise again in the UK, so we've been forced to back into the working from home again. And the really great thing is, I mean, I've got a great set of a great team that I'm working with, but having the CRM in place has been absolutely fundamental to making sure that business can go on as normal. Because without having a CRM, without having that tool that's got the single version of the truth and being able to cross-communicate throughout the team, I really don't know where we would be if we didn't have that. Could you perhaps, question to both of you, in terms of this year and kind of the uncertainty, can you tell me how Xledger's kind of adapted to the new normal, what I guess is going to be with us now for the foreseeable future?
Shall I go first?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think you're absolutely right. So I echo your statement that you made before. We are very culture driven as an organization. We are office based, or we're office based. We enjoy the momentum and collaboration that came with that. We share a common goal as Creatio. We are a foundation for businesses to perform using their accounting and access to their accounting and finance software being based in the cloud. So we needed to follow that mantra. We needed the access to our systems to enable us to support those businesses. So where our customer base has learned the value of being part of that Xledger family, as we have with Creatio, it's been paramount. You need that flexibility. Us moving from an office environment to home was actually relatively painless. We sort of broke up a week before we were told to, by our government, purely to get systems, making sure they're working, making sure people have access from home, that they have the right kit, screens, desks, chairs, and so on. And that was it. We took about 2 days. Everything worked fine. Everything carried on as normal. We were able to access all of our systems, and it gave us the ability to operate with agile pace, with speed. We didn't have to change. We didn't have to come in and plug into a box or move servers around. Everything was cloud-based. So from a working practice perspective, our behaviors changed and what we needed to adapt to as people, but our business functions were all there and readily available for people to do their jobs.
Just a little bit extra noise in the background, I guess, if you've got children or pets. Well, that's great to hear. I mean, also, perhaps perhaps just touch on as well, because some of the implementation was actually done during the COVID time. I know we kind of prepped for this with Creatio Consulting, who are the partner we use with Xledger to deliver the successful projects. But did it have a big impact on the kind of project itself?
No, I don't believe it did, actually. I think because of the nature of the system and because we are effectively delivering for 4 remote regions, the implementation wasn't impacted at all. You know, we had access to the live system. Everyone had that direct access. We had the development environment. And as it happened, we had Creatio, who are based out of Portugal, actually. You know, we were working with the Norwegian and the Swedish teams and the US teams. So actually having a single system directly accessible by everybody wasn't an issue. So for us, actually, we delivered start to finish right through COVID.
Excellent, excellent. And did the low-code strategy help on this front as well then, Justin?
Oh, definitely. I mean, for us, we didn't have to engage IT in the way that you would think you would in a normal system implementation. We were able to deliver the project directly by the marketing and the sales team. The hardest bit was probably the consolidation of data at the beginning. But working with Creatio and working in an agile function, we were able to deliver that fairly seamlessly, to be honest.
For our Accelerate global audience out there, what are the best practices and tips that you have to help them eliminate some of the pain points that you might have felt, not only with the software project itself, but also with the current pandemic and the situation the world finds itself in?
I think the key things I would think about is know your objectives and your requirements. You know, engage with the other team members, the other regions, and be clear with them what they want out of a system so you can develop a system for them. The other thing I'd say is data. Data is absolutely critical. The data that goes into the system, it has to be correct, it has to be relevant. So you have to make sure that when you're loading the data, it is there, it is correct, it is cleansed, and it's delivering the reporting you require. There's no point in having rubbish in the system. So if I did nothing else, those were the 2 things. And during the pandemic, actually, because we're a global organization, because we're regional, we've been able to do it seamlessly. You know, that single source of the truth has allowed us to consolidate everything together and deliver the solution we want.
Excellent. And why do you think it's important to nurture citizen developer culture within the organization? Obviously, having a low-code platform enables you to do this, Jen. So why do you think it's important to nurture that?
I think within the solution, we wanted to empower our teams globally. We didn't want it to be run out of IT and there'll be a barrier to the development and use of it. So in rolling out a solution, we've identified regional champions and super users, and we wanted to empower them to manage the system. And they're working directly with the teams that are using it. So they're engaged with the teams, they understand how it is, which doesn't always happen with an IT-based system. So for us, that's key.
Excellent. Okay. And I guess we're kind of just coming up to the end of the session. What are the three best things about Creatio that you can tell us about today?
I think the fact it's a truly global solution that brings that single customer view together. That allows us to deliver the real-time reporting and the information for the management team, you know, allows them to delve into the situation. And I think, as Mark alluded to earlier, it's not about people creating reports, it's about understanding the data and reacting to that data. The other key thing to mention for us was a big part was our partner portal. We wanted to extend the range out to our partners. Our partners are a really important channel for us. And so we wanted to engage with them and provide them information. So it's a real 2-way communication, 2-way team effort in delivering our business.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, listen, Mark, Justin, once again, I wanted to thank you for taking your time today. I know you're both busy gents, so I really appreciate you taking the time to join us at Accelerate Global. I hope you've enjoyed the experience, and I'd also like to thank you for your continued support.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.